Hello and welcome to our show. My name is João Fernandes, founder and CEO of DocDigitizer, and I'll be your host for today's episode of Automation Notes. Today we have a very special guest, Wilton Rogers from Simply Automate. So, Wilton, thank you very much for being on our show.
Thank you for having me so much, man. I'm excited and I appreciate it. Very honored.
Fantastic. Can you share with our audience who you are and what you do at Simply Automate?
Yeah, I'm a real simple guy. I'm a businessman, entrepreneur by heart. I come from more of a small business background, owning small businesses, and uh, and then long story short, 6, 7 years ago, I heard the thing called RPA, got involved with it, and I built my company. That's a little over 4 years now. It's been a little over 4 years. Simply Automate, and I'm the founder and CEO of Simply Automate.
Fantastic. And what got you into the RPA? Because you mentioned that you were an entrepreneur, not sure if you were operating in the tech space, but why RPA?
Yeah, great question. I think not coming from a tech background, I came from a business background. I came from understanding logic, understanding how to put things together, understanding how to build things. I didn't understand the technical part behind it. I always knew how to build it. I know how to put processes together. Then when I found out what RPA does, like, oh, wait a minute, it does all that for you, but it automates it for you. What do you mean? I don't have to have my employee do this, do this, do this, and do this, and I can have them do this instead, and I can take that away from them. That's going to save me like 20 hours. So when I start realizing what it can do for businesses, I was like, wait a minute, this is a game changer because all businesses go into businesses to use people to grow their business, not to run their business, but to grow their business. But they have to bring in more people to grow their business because they have to handle all these repetitive, rule-based type tasks that every business has to go through. When I realized, I was like, this is a game changer. So I started, I was hired by a company to be the sales and marketing VP for sales and marketing for a startup, but they were all in RPA, and we were working more on the enterprise level. But then I started seeing that this could be available for anybody. But the software wasn't. It was more the pricing was just too high. It wasn't affordable. And long story short, when I realized that Softomotive can do it, which was now Microsoft, I was like, they can do it. Like I just saw them do it for this company, even though they're $100 million company, but we could do it for this company, even though they're $1 million company. And the company I was working with didn't see that picture. They want to stay with the UiPaths of the world and everybody else and do all these big projects. And I just like, no one's down here. I understand it. I've already built relationships in the industry. I can use them as resources, and I could build my business and start targeting. And that's sort of how I got into it. And I started realizing that there wasn't, a lot of softwares out there. And I started working on different softwares and started really figuring out what the capabilities were. I was working with like 7, 8 different RPA vendors, and I knew which ones to work with, which gave the best return on the investment for the client. And you start getting better and better, start getting easier and easier. And during the time, I started building relationships with developers that I knew in the industry, building on different platforms. And I was like, hey, I have a company. You want to jump on board? Let's come on board. You can help me build all these. And that's how it sort of started. And since then, we built our company, and and it's growing ever since.
You mentioned that you are targeting not only the big companies but also the SMBs, where you see potential, and where you come from. So, what are the differences when showcasing RPA on an enterprise and on an SMB? They are different, right?
Oh yeah.
What is your feeling about it? Are SMBs that open, and they do they really understand the potential?
Oh, great question. Great question. It's totally different. It's not even a comparison. On enterprise, they're still naive of it. They understand it, but they have the finances to take those risks. And here it is, do it. Let's build it. Da, da, da. There doesn't have to be a lot of input on their end. as long as the money is there to be able to go through the process. And that's what we sort of see in the enterprise world, right? They have the money, they know they need it. Are they the right person? Okay, they are. Pay them. Let's get it going. Boom. Where on the smaller businesses, the smaller you get, the more you have to educate, and you have to get them educated on all levels: the finances, the programming, how it works. You have to sort of walk them through the process, almost show them first before they even invest in it, right? And then you have the in between. You have the small, medium-sized enterprises, which know, hey, we got to get an enterprise game. We've already have a budget for it. We understand it, but we just sort of need those resources and leadership and training to get to take full advantage of what we really can out there. So those are the different tiers that we sort of seen, and we're operating a lot in the middle, in the small and medium-sized enterprise, because right now our knowledge and experience, people are like, okay, you guys have done thousands of these over the last year, so you can show us how to do this, walk us through this, and we start seeing a lot of that. Our focus. We're building our model to help small and medium-sized businesses because they don't have any of those resources. And when they try to do it themselves, they're going to go through a rabbit hole. It's going to be hard to dig themselves out of, whether it's financially or development-wise or anything. So our job is to really educate them and handhold them all the way through the process until they get to a point like, okay, now I know how this works specifically for my business.
Yeah. And the success of RPA is very related with the maturity of the customer, not only in terms of technology itself, but also how they see the processes, how they pick the best opportunities to automate, and how they transform their processes to fit automation. And yeah, there's quite a few challenges there. What are the common challenges that all your customers have? Did you have like the top 3?
Yeah. I think the common challenge we definitely see as number one is everybody being on the same page.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody being on the same page. Because if one person's off, it could delay everything by a long shot. One person. Or one misunderstanding, it could really delay. So we know the communication's off. Internally, being able to get in front of the right resources to get collect the data information that we need to get things done, that's another bottleneck, because developing, once we understand the logic and we know we can build it, and we have all the information that we need to build it, the development's easy.
Yeah.
It's not hard. I mean, it's hard for us, right? But for developers, that's like the kid in the candy store. They're doing it.
Yeah, they like it. Yeah.
And they get it done fast. We get it done fast. So we see the delays in the internal communication, the data gathering that we have to get, but most importantly, the right process to pick. Because if you don't pick a process that is going to be able to identify, people are going to be able to identify with right away and see a value immediately,
they will quit, right?
Yeah, they'll quit, and they won't be able to see the power and the value that RP can really bring. But the minute you pick the right process, a light bulb clicks in. Like, oh, I get it now. I understand it. By the way, so you can do this, this, and this, and this, and this, right? Yeah, we can. Let's sit down and talk about that. So that's the most important thing, picking that right process where they know they're going to get a jolt right away. Like, oh, we always wait. We always know when we're getting ready to do a demo, and we're going to get that. What? Wow. We know it. It's like, okay, it's going to come right here. Because we already know that they've been doing this for a long time, and also we build it in a week, and they're like, you took that away from us. Watch the reaction. Like, oh man, it's amazing. We love it, right? So that wow factor and understanding, you have to pick the right process to do that, right? So picking the right process, the internal communication within the organization to make sure that everybody involved with that process on the same page, and making sure the communication and the information gathering that we're getting from them, those are the top 3. But we put those things up front. Like, now we already know those, so those are action steps that we've already pointed out to our clients before we get started. So it eliminates that immediately. But those are the 3 biggest probably.
and when you enter a new customer and start your conversations about RPA and opportunities and this kind of discovery process that you have, What are the misconceptions that people often have about RPA?
I think there's quite a few. I think one of the biggest things that we see is that it's going to take jobs away from people.
That
That's
is a
probably
cliche.
yeah. It's like, in we get that answer quite a bit, especially from a business that has like 10 employees, 15 employees, and all of them have been there for 5, 6 years. They're like their family. And they're like, man, I don't want to take away this employee. Like, no, dude, you're going to empower them. Well, how? When you start showing them what happens if they have an assistant, what can they do? Ask them. If I got you an assistant, what would you do for the company? I'll be able to do this, 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 and this, because they'll be able to see what their value is right away.
Yeah.
And say, okay,
And
well,
they often ask for the assistant.
they do
Over and over again.
exactly. Only if I had help. Only if I had help. Right? It's always like that. So, but that gives them a way to tell them, like, okay, they already see the value that they can bring, and now you can say, okay, how can I help you? What do you think that you're doing on a regular basis that you can get off your plate? They'll point out the repetitive things that they need to do in order to help to assist them. So I think being able to allow people to see the value that they can bring, and it's not going to take your job away. It's going to help you improve your lifestyle and your value to that company, right? It's going to give you the opportunity. So that's one of the misconceptions, I think. And the other one, I think, is that it's not available for anybody. It's not available for, we did it for a company. It's a lady has her own accounting firm. It's only her. And we automated about 40 hours of her work.
Amazing.
A full employee automated it for her.
Yeah.
So it's out there. People just don't know about it, and so I think they think, oh, it's pricey. It's not. When you know the pricing of everything when it comes down to RPA, and you know the capabilities of it, you can give every business the value that they can squeeze out of RPA, and that's what we've done.
And in this process, there's a lot of suppliers and consultancy companies to help implement RPA. What are your main differences? So what do you do really different compared to other companies that are implementing RPA?
Yeah, I think what we do differently is that we're a consulting firm, but we're also a development firm. Exactly. We don't contract anything out. Everything's internal. Yeah. We built relationships with all of our software vendors, personal relationships. So, we worked on these models for multiple years, and we know the executive leaders of these companies. We know the founders of these companies. We know where these companies are going with their programming. So we have that insider relationship with them, and we built that because we all come from those industries. Every part of our company is not just me. It's my partners and my employees. We've all come from this world, and we brought those resources and knowledges from those different areas. Whereas a lot of companies are a consulting firm, but they have to subcontract it out to a company in India to do development or whatever. With us, it's whatever we say we can do, we personally do it internally, and then we have a process from where that conversation goes all the way to deployment, all the way to support and maintenance. We have a client portal where they can follow the process of anything, the whole thing.
Oh, amazing.
And they can follow how it, how much is being used, if there's been a ticket in there that needs to be taken care of, anything.
Can you walk me through that process? So probably you have a discovery phase first, and then you move to a POC or something. Can you tell me a little bit more about how you structure this adoption process?
Yeah, the way we structured it, we made it very simple. And this is, like I said, this has been because of thousands of conversations and opportunities that we blew. We've lost, right? Because we didn't have it put in place.
Lessons learned, my friend. Lessons learned.
Right. So what we do is we have that discovery call. We want them to get a better understanding of what RPA is. 9 times out of 10, more like 10 times out of 10, people really don't understand the capabilities of RPA. Even if they've heard about it, they really don't understand the capabilities that work directly for them. So we want to be able to compare apples to apples. We don't want to tell them about what invoice processing do. We want to show invoice processing can do for them based on their logic, based on everything, right? So we sort of educate them, and then once we identify a process like a invoice processing, we have a design call. We send them out a design questionnaire. They fill it out. We do an overview of what that, based on how they answer that questionnaire, on what that looks like. And then during that meeting, we walk through what we think everything looks like based on your information. A business analyst, a project manager, and whoever brought the salesperson, whoever brought that lead in, are on that call. Then at that time, they walk us through more detail of what that looks like, right? So we've already signed the NDA. We've already they're going through the process and sort of walking us through what that looks like in more detail. We're asking questions and making sure, so at the end of the day, we know that we can really map this out. Then we turn around and we map that out. And then when we map it out, we'll show them exactly what the ROI is. We'll show them exactly how many hours we're saving them. We'll break it down to them how much of the bot is doing the work now instead of the manual doing the work. So we show them the breakdown of everything. Then we
Are they surprised because most of the times they don't even have a clue about the number of hours they are deploying, right?
Right. Oh, once they see it in a chart, they're totally shocked. Right? Because they don't realize it. Like, wow,
it's happening. It's almost autopilot, right?
Yeah, and think about that is like when you show them that you're getting all these documents and you're manually putting them into the software, these PDFs or these emails, you're manually putting them into the software, and then you tell them how much time they're saving. They care about the time, but they're like, you mean I don't have to do that anymore? Like zero, I don't do that anymore? That's what they're thinking, right? So we know that chart means a lot. So we'll show them that chart, but we've already gone into more detail. Then we'll get all that detailed information from them, and then we'll come back and, like I said, we'll do the ROI. We'll go into more detail. We'll show them everything. We'll go through everything, and then we'll tell them the cost of it. Like, this is going to cost, but you can be able to see. They'll know the return right away. But then we'll say, and that's what we'll do for the proof of concept, the POC. So let's say we'll map out the whole thing from end to end. This is what we can do, and we'll have a timeline of how fast when we can get this done. And then we'll say, okay, we can do the POC for this part, which is, let's say, getting the PDFs and extracting that data and putting it into this. Uh-oh. Are we back?
Yeah, we are back.
I don't know if that was me that time. I don't know if that was me, but we'll continue. I think we're good.
We just lost you for 10 seconds. So
okay. So I don't know where I was, but what I was saying is that once everything is completely done, then we show them the price, we show them everything, and then we do the POC. The POC would be the PDFs or whatever information put into the software. Then we'll say we'll get that done within by next week. We'll just collect the data for that POC, because you start collecting data for everything else, it's gonna take a while. So we want to focus. Show them we collect this data, we'll build it right away. They'll see how fast we can build it, and we'll get it deployed. And once it's deployed, that's like, oh, I'm not doing it anymore. Okay, now let's finish up the rest of it. And that's when we've already timelined everything else based on what we can do. And when they see that, it's like, okay, I get it. And then once it's serviced, and once it's built and deployed, then it goes into the support and maintenance model, which we support and we maintain. Any upgrades or any changes or whatever, we take care of that in the back end. So that's basically the process.
Fantastic. And moving a little bit more towards the RPA technology itself. So you mentioned that you are in this space for quite some time. Let's say 7 years, right? 8 years. You mentioned you probably see some kind of changes on this landscape, right? And the UiPath and Blue Prism and Microsoft, they have been trying as much as possible to innovate, to bring new features into the market. So when you look at RPA 8 years ago and now, what are the main differences? Is RPA just a simple process orchestrator, or do you see much more now happening?
Yeah, well, great question. Well, first of all, I think the difference now is that there's anybody it, anybody can do it. Any company can have it. Anybody can do it, right?
Yeah.
But there's also limitations to it all. There's limitations, whether it's the limitations of the person doing it or limitations of the software itself, and those things are very, very important. So the difference is, where we've been blessed is that we've been working in this, and every time a new one comes in, we learn about it. So we can already start comparing it, and if we play around with it, we can really start comparing it because we know all the basics, what everybody can do, but can they do this? Can they do that?
Yeah.
Right. So I think now the RPA game has become a little bit easier for people to be part of. What the thing that's we're seeing a lot of is that people are going it the wrong way. They're jumping in because they know they need to do it because it's growing so fast, and it's something that is not slowing down and speeding up. So the speed and the growth of it has been crazy.
And do you think that also relates with the amount of options? So when we look now at intelligent automation, you have this huge toolkit of micro tools and micro tools to choose from. So it's like it's becoming, I would say, it's becoming more easy for non-tech folks to jump in and start to do some robots. But at the same time, the number of options, do you think it messes things up a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely think it messes things up. I think everybody sees the opportunity of this being a gold mine. So people are starting to do their own thing, right? So there is, but I definitely think that if you do your research and you really know how to approach RPA, you're going to be able to take full advantage of the other, intelligent automation technologies out there where you want to spend more of your focus and mental process, because RPA you don't have to. So what we found out is by companies that are buying into RPA, like we want to automate as much as we can of this repetitive, so we don't have to focus on that. We can focus on some real technology. We want to focus on some real technology to help us scale this company so we can run this company all over the world from our phone if we need be, right? So I think that's where the focus has been, and that's what we're starting to see.
And how do you see this space? So now I must say this question is very hard, because with GDP3 and GDP4 and all that stuff coming to the market, it's like even for me with the tech background, it's like overwhelming in so many ways. But where do you see this space in 5 years from now?
The RPA space or the intelligent automation?
The intelligent automation space. Yeah.
Oh man, it's revolutionizing the way we do business. Period. It is. Like whatever I think about doing for my company, I can get it done. Like it's that easy. It's not that easy to do. It's that easy if you know what to do and how to do it, you can get it done. It's not hard.
Possible. It's possible. Yeah.
It's possible. What I found out about why we're staying in our lane in the RPA space is because we know we've invested in so many different RPA vendor software. We know them. We know how to work, right? The software, this is already $1 billion industry, right?
Yeah.
Supposed to be, but in a few years, supposed to be a 30 billion. I don't know. It's some outrageous. I forgot the numbers, but anyway, it's growing fast, right? But you have to understand the part that's growing fast is the service part. It's growing 5 times faster than the software part. So there was a big spike in software. People are coming in now, building the software that we're getting a piece of that RPA pie. That software spike is starting to slow down now.
Yeah.
So like, okay,
it's becoming a commodity in a way.
Yeah. That's it. but the service is headed this way,
Yeah.
right? So when you understand how to service a client using any software, you can take care of that client better than anybody else can, and definitely better than they can take care of themselves when it comes to RPA. They're a client. They should be a client. Why can't they be your client? And we realized that no one's doing that. It's like the service is taking off. And we realized that 5-6 years ago. It's like, no one's part of this, man. They're all getting on this internet. They're purchasing all this damn equipment and getting more and building. It's like, dude, who's going to serve? No way. So we jumped on that bandwagon and we built this process out a long time ago because we saw that coming. Because we were
Yeah.
part of it. But it wasn't happening that when it happened. But now it's starting to happen tenfold. So the service is definitely picking up quite a bit. So people really need to understand the service, but then when they get into it, they have to be very diligent and do their homework on how to take care of it. If not, it can backfire.
Yeah, and most still, I think many projects end up failing because they don't have the support and the knowledge to lead this kind of transformations, because at some point is more than automation is a transformation of their business. Which is very challenging for people, processes, and technology. I always like to ask our guests for a suggestion of a book or podcast or even a person to follow so they can learn more about this. So what are your suggestions?
Yeah, great question. Well, first of all, podcasts. It's called the RPA Podcast. Just Google it. That's our
Yeah.
podcast, right? We call it RPA Podcast. So we have some really good guests on there, and we go live. We're making some changes internally now, which we're going to upgrade. So, but we have probably about 50, 60 good interviews already. But that one's a good one. I think if you go to Ian Barkin on LinkedIn, you follow his work.
Amazing. Yeah, the videos are really amazing.
They are. So
Yeah.
it's very clear understanding. It's, in fact, we speaking of books.
It's there also. Yeah, it's a Bible.
Yeah. So anybody getting into the automation space or into business period, or starting the business or running a business, they need to read this book. And the reason why is because wherever you are in your business, it'll give you bullet points on how you could prepare your business for the future with what you have right now, right? So it allows you to do that. And I had to get the audiobook. I got the book and I was like, I got to listen to it while I'm working out and stuff, because there was so much to consume, right? And it's just a real good book for any level of person that's in business, like anybody. It's so easy to understand. So yeah,
for the people that are just hearing the podcast, is the book is Intelligent Automation, and
yes.
it's a red cover, and you'll find it very very easily on Amazon, and it's really the Bible. And I would say it's far more than talking about intelligent automation. It's like a concept. It's a transformation. It's a mindset, which is far more than just deploying technology. And I really recommend the book. This Christmas, I gave one of these books to every employee from DocDigitizer, so to help them also understand more about the space. So I really recommend it, and following him on LinkedIn, it's always very insightful. So what's next for you and Simply Automate, and how can our audience reach out to you?
What's next for us right now is we're building our client portal and our client educational platform, and I think for us it's more about people really understanding, having a place to go to really get an idea of what RPA is before they start putting a lot of their resources and finances into it, or being able to answer questions, being the Google of RPA type of team, right? So we'll be able to answer those questions on any given time. So we'll have people to be able to help them out. So we're building that resource. And we're scaling right now. We have some opportunities to really scale our business and to be able. And the reason why is because I think our model can improve and help businesses get off to the right start right away. And we've had some people recognize that, so they've given us opportunity to scale. So right now we're looking to really build a model to scale and scale pretty fast. So we've been blessed to be in this space, and now we're just really we're building the team and preparing for what's already here, and
Yeah.
and hopefully being a genuine leader in this space, the company in the space, and our name goes along with those that are really servicing this industry very well.
Yeah, fantastic. And I would say that you have a huge opportunity ahead, and to scale up and to grab some market share. Wilton, hosting this episode was really a pleasure. It was a pleasure to me, and also because we recently also closed a partnership between Simply Automate and DocDigitizer. So it's like I'm very excited for that.
Mm.
And thank you again for taking the time to meet me. I know that you are facing a very tight schedule right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thanks for being on our show.
Hey, well, thank you for having me. I appreciate that. I'm excited about our partnership as well. And again, I forgot I mentioned, if you guys want to follow us, you can follow us on LinkedIn. We post every single day on LinkedIn, on my page, on our business page. We're always there. We're active. But no, it's been great, and I definitely look forward to working with you on some projects in the future for sure.
Fantastic. I have been your host, Joe Fernandez, and this has been Automation Notes. See you next time.